Hi everyone, in today's video I want to talk about finding the best budget lens for Sony A7 IV, specifically for event and wedding filmmakers. As for those who like to carry a lens on a gimbal all day long. Currently I'm using 28-75 kit lens, which is good, but it has its own limitations. Firstly, one of the issues with the kit lens is the exposure changes when you zoom in, which can be quite problematic. Additionally, when shooting in 60 4K on Sony A7 IV, the sensor tends to crop, making it a little impossible to capture wide shots, which are crucial for any event or wedding. To tackle these issues, I thought about using a crop sensor lens like Sigma 18-35 1.8, which I already own, coupled with Sigma MC11 EF to E adapter. However, I faced some challenges using this combination. The 900-gram lens along with the adapter makes the setup front heavy, which makes very difficult and sometimes time consuming balancing precisely on a gimbal. Moreover, using a crop sensor introduces noise shooting at high ISO compared to using a full frame. Another drawback when taking photos is it is captured on a smaller sensor cropped frame, resulting in a smaller resolution and a smaller size compared to full frame photography. Furthermore, the Sony kit lens features OSS, optical steady shot, which helps reduces small jitters, smooths out the movement, and which helps a lot with using it on gimbal. This option is sadly not available on Tamron or Sigma, so this gives Sony an advantage over the others. I have done extensive research and I decided to purchase Tamron 17-28 2.8 lens. Today I want to compare Tamron 17-28 lens with the Sony kit lens and a Sigma crop sensor 18-35 1.8 lens. I'll be evaluating both full frame and crop sensor modes, and will do normal walk and ninja walk to see which stand out the most. For consistency, I'll be keeping steady shot on standard mode. So without further ado, let's dive into it. First, we'll look at Tamron at 17mm, S-Log 3, aperture 7.1, ISO 800, 4K 24 with a ninja walk. It's on full frame. It seems very smooth because of the extreme wide angle. A simple Sony LUT has been applied to all the clips. Now Tamron at same setting but with normal walk. You can see that it's a little bouncy as it doesn't have any IBIS or OSS. Now it's at 60 frames per second in 4K. As you know, Sony A7 IV crops to 1.5, close to Super 35. Now, same settings but with normal walk. You can still see a little jump, a little bump when walking. Now same setting with 28mm, 60 frames per second. It gives you a little zoomed in field of view, which is nice when covering an event. It's close to 45mm on the full frame. Now ninja walk with full frame at 28mm. It's smooth and very sharp. Now 28mm, full frame, normal walk. You can see a little bump. The reason why I chose this alley was when you see something very close to you, you can judge the perspective. This is ninja walk. Looks like slow motion, but it's not.
It looks very smooth. And also I saw that the focus shift was very smooth on the house number. Now let's look at Sony at 28mm. Everything is the same, full frame and normal walk, 24 fps. Still you can see little bump. OSS is handling it, but it's little better than Tamron. Now at 60 frames per second, it crops a lot because of the original focal length starting it's at 28, so it crops 1.5, so you can feel it, it's a heavy crop. Now let's do the normal walk. You can see a little bump here. So the visual in front of the house, you can't really see the bump, but the things which are besides you, the real motion of the gimbal movement. Now let's look at Sigma at 18mm in Ninja walk. And as you know, Sigma 18 to 35 is a crop sensor lens. The camera automatically crops. It shows equivalent of full frame of 27mm, which is very close to Tamron's 28mm. Looks very smooth and sharp. Half of the reason why the lens is sharp is because of obviously the construction. It's an Art Series M, and the other reason is because it's a crop sensor. In crop sensor you see a lot of depth. In the normal walk you saw the movement. Now let's look at 60 frames per second. It's not slowed down, it's just to give you a field of view. So as it's already crop frame, so it won't crop. That's the best part of using 18 to 35 on A7 IV. When you switch it to 4K 60, it doesn't crop because it's already cropped. So now Sony and Tamron both side by side at 28mm. You can see Tamron is a little sharper, and Sony has done a great job making this lens, as usually the kit lenses are not that great. Now Sony and Tamron in 4K 60 slowed down both at 28mm. Maybe I didn't click on the number of the house, that's why Sony is not focus, but it will focus eventually. Now you can see both full frame lenses, zoom lenses, and you can see Tamron is a little sharper. Sony is doing a decent job. Now let's compare Sony, Tamron, Sigma side by side, 4K 24 frames per second. Both Sony and Tamron at 28mm. Sigma will be obviously at 18mm cropped, and it will give you 27mm of field of view. Both Sigma and Tamron are very sharp. Sigma was shot at little different time. The sun was moving, it was evening, so just ignore that.
One great thing about using both Tamron and Sigma lenses is they don't extend when you change the focal length or adjust focus, unlike some other lenses. This feature may not seem significant, but it is actually very practical when using the lens on a gimbal. Although Sony extends a little bit when zoomed in, but Ronin RS3 gimbal does a great job balancing it and keeps everything steady. During my testing, I noticed that Tamron lens was a little sharper. I would love to hear your observations as well. I've put a lot of time and effort in testing out these lenses and bringing all this knowledge and information in front of you. If you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate if you like, comment. Your support will encourage me to continue making videos like these and conducting tests which are not available on YouTube. Thank you, take care, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.